In the 5th autumn since my divorce, I ran into Asher lying in the airport VIP lounge. He was looking down at the document in his hand. And when I entered, he looked up and our eyes met. Piperin, he almost blurted out, with a hint of surprise in his voice. I nodded slightly and sat on the sofa furthest from him, opening my laptop to deal with emails. Asher walked over coldly and glanced at the boarding pass in my hand. What a coincidence. You're going to Haicheng too? I didn't say anything and continued processing emails. He stared for a long moment, and seeing that I didn't answer, he sighed. So many years have passed, and you're still blaming me. When would I have time to blame him? I just don't care about him anymore. Mommy, I want to drink juice. My 5-year-old daughter Nian Nian lay on my lap and whispered, I'll buy it for you as soon as Mom finishes sending this email. I gently stroked her hair. Asher turned abruptly and went into the supermarket, coming out with 2 bottles of juice in his hand. He shoved one bottle into my hand and twisted open the other to give to Nian Nian. Thank you, Uncle. How much? I'll transfer it to you. I showed my payment code. He stood there, hands in his pockets, looking helpless, still blaming me. I smiled and shook my head. What are you going on a business trip for? Bringing the child along, it's so hard. I could help you. No need. Thank you. I closed my laptop and took Nian Nian's hand, wanting to leave. Piperin. Asher suddenly pulled me back coldly. Can you stop being so cold to me? I shook off his hand and stepped away from him. I don't want Lila Sue to misunderstand. Uncle, why won't you let Mom leave? Asher seemed stung by these words and slowly withdrew his hand. What's your name? You're very beautiful. Just like your mother. Nian Nian looked proud, saying, Simsim Piper. My mom is the most beautiful mom in the world. At that moment, Asher's cold phone rang. Honey, have you boarded yet? Don't forget to buy me that 88,000 necklace. Love you, honey. Lila's gentle, playful voice came from the phone. And I quickly pulled Nian Nian away. On the plane, Nian Nian flipped through the picture book in her hands and asked me, Mom, the way that uncle is looking at you is like how dad looks when he loses the pen you gave him. I gently closed her book. Sleep now. Well, be there soon. Just out of the airport, I saw Asher's cool car parked right in front of me. Where are you going? I'll take you. No need. My taxi will be here soon. He seemed to want to say something, but my attitude silenced him. In the end, he couldn't help but speak up. If you need money, come to me anytime. You don't have to push yourself so hard. Thank you. I'm fine now. I turned around and got into the ride-hailing car behind him, leaving without looking back. The project in Haicheng went very smoothly, and after it ended, the other party's representative walked us to the hotel elevator entrance. Mr. N has truly thought things through, even personally revising the children's area design. Nian happily shook my hand. Mom is the best. The elevator doors opened, and Asher Lang and Lila Sue were standing inside, in the confined space. Lila Zu's perfume was particularly pungent. Our eyes met. Her expression faltered for a moment, and then she smiled and spoke to me. Piper, it's been such a long time. You're staying at this hotel too? I smiled faintly and nodded. Asher had remained silent until I stepped off the elevator, when he suddenly spoke up. Do you have time later? Want to grab a meal together? There's an arrangement. At the moment the elevator doors closed, the light in his eyes dimmed. Invited by a partner to attend a charity dinner. I had just entered with Nian Nian when I saw Asher surrounded by a group of people. Seeing us, his gaze lit up with surprise. Then he made his way through the crowd toward us. We really do have a fate of meeting each other like this several times. He smirked and gently shook the wine glass in his hand. Bringing a child to such occasions is inconvenient. Let me help you. No need. I interrupted him. My husband will be here shortly. The wine glass in his hand paused, and after choking for a long time, he squeezed out a sentence. You are married. Does Ling feel that I shouldn't have a new life? You know, I didn't mean it that way. I just, at that moment. Nian Nian happily waved toward the door. Daddy, Jack Swan, dressed in a dark gray suit, hurried over, taking the bag from my hand, and lifted Nian Nian into his arms. Sorry I'm late, there was an issue with some data at the lab. I rushed here as soon as the plane landed. Asher stiffened, glancing at Jax Wan's ring finger, where he wore a wedding ring identical to mine. Hello. I'm Piper Ann's husband. Jax Wan extended his hand, taking the initiative to greet him. The atmosphere was a bit awkward. Asher Lang seemed to be stunned, as if he hadn't heard, before he could speak. Lila Su ran over from the side and took Asher Lang's arm. Hubby, Mr. Wang is waiting for us. She glanced at Jax Wan and then at me. Piper, you've married again. That's great. Lila gradually pulled Asher away coldly, but he kept glancing back at me. Jax Wan whispered to me. That's your ex-husband and your best friend. I nodded. The first time I saw Lila Su was at the corner behind the school. A few blonde boys surrounded her, demanding her contact information. She was so frightened that she trembled and was pushed around. I had already walked past, but turned back. Don't mess around, there's a police station right up ahead. I pretended to be calm, but my fingers were clenched together nervously. The leading thug raised his eyebrows. Yo, another girl came. This one isn't bad either. I struck a classic taekwondo pose and wrestled with them. In the end, she helped me to the school infirmary to apply iodine. Thank you. My name is Lila Su. Her voice was weak. Piper Ann. I grinned. I'll protect you from now on. And so, I brought her to Asher Lang, letting my childhood friend protect Lila Su together with me. Asher Lang lives downstairs from me. His parents are abroad most of the time and rarely come back. My mom felt sorry for him being alone and often invited him to eat at our house. He's always so quiet and doesn't like to talk. If I crack a joke, he blushes and buries himself in his book. In the second year of high school, we three ended up in the same class. That day, Lila Su and I were hugging and laughing like crazy, while Asher stood to the side, smiling faintly. Great. We're finally in the same class. The three of us have a great relationship and help each other with everything. Once, I had a high fever and was delirious at home. Asher skipped evening self-study to bring me medicine, and Lila Su brought me the notes from that day. We will always be together in the future, I said in a hoarse voice. Asher coldly tugged at the blanket on my body and said, Okay. Lila smiled faintly and nodded. Promises made in youth are always spoken too lightly, believing that friendship could truly last forever. In my second year of college, Asher Cold's parents passed away unexpectedly, and I accompanied him abroad to handle the arrangements. On the plane back home, he cried on my shoulder like a child. Piperin, you're all I have left. I stroked his hair. I'll always be with you. As soon as we got off the plane, Lila Su rushed over carrying an insulated food container. She hugged Asher Lang tightly, her voice choked with sobs. Asher, it's cold, but everything will pass. You still have us. After graduation, Asher Lang started his own business. I took out all my savings to support him and helped him manage the company's affairs, while Lila Su helped him draw design drafts day and night. At the celebration party for the company's first project, Asher Lang proposed to me in front of everyone. Piperin, from 15 years old until now, you have been in every one of my futures. I hope that when I'm 70 or 80, my future will still be you. I nodded, crying, and Lila Su was crying even harder than me from the audience. On the wedding day, I directly shoved the bouquet into her arms. Darling, you're next. In my past, which I believed to be filled with happiness, fate had already planted its seeds. From a single bowl of warm porridge at the airport, to the small characters "May we live long" after the design sketch, to weeping uncontrollably upon receiving the bouquet of flowers. Since when did Lila Zu's gaze always follow Asher Cold? And I, blinded by happiness, failed to notice the love hidden beneath that timidity. For sleeping, Jax Wan gently tugged at the blanket on my body. I had originally dreamed of the past things I hadn't thought of in years, yet I dreamed of them again today. I just dozed off, I said, folding the blanket, only to realize Jax Wan had set out a table full of snacks. I guessed you probably didn't eat enough last night. I just ordered some local specialties, come on, try them. Nian Nian had already climbed onto the stool, stuffing steamed buns into her mouth, looking at the oil stains on her cheeks and then glancing at Jack's one busy nearby. My heart felt warm. Back then, during my darkest days, I met Jack's one. He had seen me at my lowest, fallen into the mud, and now, after the storm has passed, he stays by my side. Just as he once stood beside Piper. The next day, we had originally planned for the three of us to visit the Science Museum, but Jax was suddenly called away by a phone call from the lab. I took Nian Nian around the museum, showing her the space exhibits she loved most. She jumped around excitedly, accidentally spilling her juice onto the suit of someone nearby. "What's wrong with this child?" a woman's voice snapped. I quickly pulled my daughter back and apologized to the woman. Looking up, I was stunned to see that it was Asher, cold and upright. "I'm sorry." The child didn't mean to. Asher not only didn't get angry, but crouched down and used a tissue to wipe Nian Nian's hands. "It's okay. I also have a son about your age. What's your name?" "Wan Nian." The daughter answered softly. His gaze froze, and he stopped the movement in his hands. "Asher. Your suit." He turned a deaf ear, continuing to look at Nian Nian. "Do you like airplanes? My son and the nanny are watching airplanes nearby. Would you like to go with them?" "No. We have an appointment." Asher stood up coldly, his eyes slightly reddened. "Piper, can you stop being so resistant to me? I just want to spend more time with the kids. We could meet." "Inconvenient." I interrupted him. "If CEO Lang doesn't need me to pay, we'll be leaving." Asher remained silent, and Lila Sue bit her lip, not saying a word at his side. She has changed quite a bit over the years. No longer the fragile figure she once was. Only when she was around Asher Lang could she still tolerate him in every way as she did in the beginning. Walking out of the Science and Technology Museum, Nian Nian looked up and asked me, "Mommy, that uncle just now had red eyes." The late autumn wind swirled up fallen leaves, and I held Nian Nian in my arms as we walked towards the car. Suddenly, Piper thought of the day Asher and I coldly divorced that it was also such weather. He looked at me with the same gaze. "Piper, and you'll regret divorcing me." Now, who regrets it is unclear. 5 soon. It was the day of the project signing. The other party arranged a celebration at a revolving restaurant. As soon as he sat down, he saw Asher coldly walking in with people from his company. He came straight to my table. What a coincidence. The project manager quickly stood up. "President Lang. You know President N too. Mr. N." He glanced at me thoughtfully. "Old friend. Would you mind sharing a table?" The meal was somehow awkward, kept asking about my condition, but each time was interrupted by Jax's endless chatter. Then came a direct call. I picked up my phone and walked to the balcony. The voice soft. "Everything went well with the partnership. Han Yen Nian has fallen asleep." After ending the call, Asher was already standing behind me. "Cold. You've changed. You never used to laugh like that when you answered my calls." "People always change. I know it sounds ridiculous to say this now, but for the past 5 years, I haven't spent a single day without thinking of you." The terrace lights were dim, yet the pain in his eyes was so real. 5 years ago, I might have been soft-hearted, but now, what you miss isn't me, just the fool who was completely devoted to you. But it's a pity she's long gone. Asher was stunned for a moment, wanting to say something, but was interrupted by Lilith's anxious call from behind. "Asher, the baby has a fever. The nanny told us to go back quickly." He frowned, his tone impatient. "Didn't I tell you not to bother me with such trivial matters?" Lilith's eyes instantly welled up with tears. "Trivial? A child being sick is trivial. I didn't want to get involved in their conflict. Since Piper has family matters to attend to, I'll take my leave." He reached out to stop me, but Lila gripped my arm tightly. "Asher, you're so cold. Do you even remember who your wife is?" I stepped into the elevator, and the moment the doors closed, I saw the look in Lilith's eyes filled with resentment. Originally scheduled to return over the weekend, we received a typhoon warning, and all flights were cancelled. Jax kept insisting on the phone. "Stay calm and wait for me. I've rescheduled to catch the flight tomorrow to pick you up." Hanging up the phone, Nian Nian tugged at my arm. When will I get to see Dad? I comforted her gently. You'll see him tomorrow. At that moment, the doorbell rang. And Asher stood coldly outside the door. Something wrong. The hotel said the top floor observation deck is the best place to watch the typhoon. I was wondering if Nian Nian would like to go. I remember she likes these things. I was about to refuse when Nian Nian ran to the door. Can you really see the typhoon? We ended up going to the observation deck. Outside the huge glass windows, torrential rain swirled with fierce winds. Nian Nian excitedly stuck to the glass, pointing and chattering, while Asher crouched down beside her, patiently explaining things, watching their retreating figures. I felt dazed. If only things had been different back then. But there's no such thing as an if. The wind grew stronger, rattling the glass with sharp clatters. Nian Nian clung to me in fear, while Asher instinctively reached out a hand to shield us, his arm freezing midair. They'll take you back in the room. He lingered. Piper. Can we? No. I haven't said what it is yet. Nothing is possible. His eyes were reddened. Not even as friends. We can never be friends. 6 late at night. I was woken by a phone call, and it was Lila's sobbing voice on the other end. Is Piper warm? And Asher cold with you? There's no way he'd be with me. He's gone. Not answering his phone. Not replying to messages. And the child still has a fever. After hanging up, I called the hotel front desk again, asking them to help take care of them. And then I fell into a deep sleep. The next day, Jax arrived perfectly on time, and Nian Nian threw herself into his arms with a sweet voice. Dad, the typhoon last night was so strong and scary, and an uncle even took us to see it. Jax looked at me, and I shook my head helplessly. At the airport, Asher Lang finally appeared. He looked like he hadn't slept all night, his face haggard and his beard unshaven. Piper, let's talk. We're about to board the plane. Asher Cold grabbed my wrist, and Jax instantly stepped forward. Mr. Cold, please maintain your composure. 2 men faced off, while Nian Nian hid behind me in fear. Eventually, Asher Cold let go with a bitter smile, shoving the items in his hand into my hands. This photo has always been kept in my wallet. After the plane took off, I took out the photo. It was taken when we first confirmed our relationship in college. 2 young faces, laughing innocently together. On the back, a new line of handwriting. I lost the person who loved me the most in the world. Jax gripped my hand tightly. Should we keep it? I shook my head, tore up the photo, and threw it into the vomit bag. Outside, the sea of clouds surged, and Nian Nian was sound asleep in her father's arms. I leaned against Jax's broad shoulders and closed my eyes. Some people, some loves, once missed, are missed, no matter what you do afterward. It's all in vain. Just got home, and Jax's parents came out to greet us, worried about whether we had landed safely and insisting on seeing us with their own eyes. After dinner, my mother-in-law pulled me aside. I heard your ex-husband went too. My hand holding the teacup hesitated. It was a chance encounter. Did he give you a hard time? After how he treated you back then? We should have. Mom, it's all in the past. And now I have Jax, Nian Nian, and you, all of you make me so happy. My mother-in-law sighed. If you ever feel wronged, you must tell me. The Wan family will always stand behind you. Back in the bedroom, Jax was telling Nian Nian a fairy tale. The sight moved me so deeply that tears welled up in my eyes. He noticed I wasn't speaking, turned to me, and asked, "What did Mom say to you? Let me tell you. If you dare to bully me, I will never forgive you." He smiled, tucked the child in, walked over and hugged me. My dear wife, how would I dare? I don't even have enough time to cherish you. I ran into someone I thought I would never see again at the kindergarten entrance on Monday while dropping Nian Nian off at school. I pretended not to see him and was about to leave after dropping Nian Nian off. But he grabbed my wrist. Let's talk. His voice was hoarse, with deep dark circles under his eyes. There's nothing to talk about. Just 5 minutes. I didn't want to argue with him at the school entrance, so I quickly walked to the corner of the street. Let's talk right here. Did you look at the photo? I threw it away. The hopeful look in his eyes dimmed instantly, and his eyes reddened. That was taken on our first date. Asher. That's cold. I interrupted him. If you're looking for me to reminisce about the past, I'm not interested. I know it sounds ridiculous now. But that day at the viewing platform, watching you and Nian Nian, I realized what I had lost. These 5 years. I've regretted it every single day. I let out a cold snort, regretting divorcing me, or regretting getting caught. He was stunned for a moment. I was wrong back then. But I never intended to divorce you. It was you who insisted on leaving me. I laughed angrily. I was pregnant. And I saw you in bed with Lila Sue with my own eyes. Was I the one who was wrong? I just made a mistake that a normal man would make. Especially since I was drunk. Piper Ann. You know I love you. I turned away impatiently. What's the point of saying this now after all these years? If you have nothing else to say, I'm leaving. Seeing that I was about to leave, he immediately grabbed me. At least let me see Nian Nian occasionally. She is, after all, she has nothing to do with you. I shook off his hand. Legally, emotionally, nothing. I ignored his surprised glance and walked away without looking back. 7. The autumn sun poured over the ground carelessly, coating everything in gold. My mind was filled with thoughts. Yet my eyes were soothed by the sight. I took a deep breath, turned into the market near my home, and began to plan what delicious food I'd make for Nian Nian and Jax Wan tonight. At that moment, a sports car swerved in front of me, and the window slowly rolled down, revealing the face of Lila Sue. Piper Ann, let's talk. She cut straight to the chase, quite direct. We chose a nearby cafe, and as soon as the waiter brought the lattes, she couldn't wait to start. Piper Ann, just take it as my fault before. I'm begging you, please stop pestering AE. And leave our family alone. She seemed to be trying hard to suppress her emotions, but her clenched hands still revealed her unease. I took a sip of the fresh latte. The coffee beans really are better when freshly ground. Lila Sue, you've got the wrong person. Asher Lang is your husband. He's the one who keeps harassing me. You should go and ask him to leave me alone. It's you, haunting me. Lila suddenly yelled at Piper, her voice filled with excitement. If it weren't for you, Asher wouldn't be like this. Now he stares at your old photos on his phone all day. Even when the child has a fever, he's absent-minded. He's calling your name in his dreams, she said, tears welling up. But there was no trace of regret in those eyes, only anger. That's his problem. You should talk to him instead of coming to me. Communication. How can I communicate? She slammed her hand hard on the table. Piran, don't pretend to be so high and mighty here. Do you think I don't know? You pretend to be calm and composed on the surface. But behind the scenes you must have used some underhanded methods to trap him. You want him to keep thinking about you. You just can't stand to see us happy. Can't bear to see me, Lila Sue, being happy. I let out a cold, stunned by her twisted and slanderous words. Lila Sue, please understand this clearly. It was you too, one my dearest friend. The other my husband at the time who betrayed me back then. It was you all who rolled up the sheets when I was pregnant. And it was you, my best friend, who delivered the final blow. Now, what right do you have to stand here playing the victim and blaming me? Lila's face turned deathly pale as she stared at me, speechless for a long moment. After a while, she bit her lip, a flash of panic briefly crossing her eyes. Yet she still spoke with smug confidence. Yes, we were wrong to you all those years ago. But how long ago was that? I'm now his legal wife. We have a child. Can't you just be generous and let bygones be bygones? Why must you keep showing up in our lives and destroying my family? I stared at Lila Sue, even doubting that those words came from her mouth. When did she become so shameless? Destroy your family. I have a career and a better lover now. I've never contacted Asher Lang. Every encounter was initiated by him. If you can't control your own man, that's your incompetence. You. Lila Sue suddenly stood up, her face flushed with anger, her hands clenched tightly in her palms. Piper Ann, don't be so ungrateful. Do you think you're all that just because you have a little beauty and a small studio? Do you believe it or not? I just need to cry in front of Asherlang. Say you're bullying me. And hell find plenty of ways to shut down your studio. Hell make it impossible for you to stay here. Seeing that I remained calm, her tone softened again. Piper Ann, for the sake of our old friendship, let me give you a way out. Leave here. How much do you want? Name your price. As long as you promise never to see Asherlang again. I can give you enough money to ensure your comfort for the rest of your life. It's not easy for a divorced woman like you to remarry and start a new family. Why bother wasting your time here? I stood up, looking down at Lila Sue. She was trembling slightly with anger, but as I looked at her, I felt nothing but contempt and pity. Lila Sue, is Asherlang and scheming all that's left in your world? She was stunned, meeting my eyes. Let me remind you of two things. First, my departure or stay is not something you get to decide. Second, the man you cherish so much means nothing to me anymore. I picked up the bill on the table and placed it in front of her. This cup of coffee will be my treat. A farewell to the so-called sisterhood that we've already fed to the dogs. And second, keep your husband in check. Don't let him follow me around like a stray dog anymore. It's become quite disturbing. I picked up my bag, ignoring Lila's flushed face, and turned to leave. 8 as expected. I didn't run into Asherlang again for the next month. And I threw myself into work. The company took on a large cultural center project, and the client specifically requested that I be the chief designer. At the first project meeting, I saw Asherlang again in the conference room. Chilling is always our main investor. The assistant whispered. He stood up and extended his hand toward me. Mr. N, long time no see. I ignored his outstretched hand and sat down directly. Let's begin. Throughout the meeting, his gaze remained fixed on me. I focused on presenting the design proposal until he interrupted. Is the design of the children's area too risky? Does CEO Lang have a better suggestion? Safety must be fully considered. After all, children are very naughty. I knew he was alluding to Nian Nian. But I remained unfazed. We consulted with child experts on this aspect, and all designs meet safety standards. After the meeting, he followed me to the parking lot. Piper Ann, do we have to talk to each other like this? CEO Lang, we have a working relationship now. Okay. Then let's talk about work. He handed me a document. This is information on all businesses under Lang Corporation. I would like to ask you to do a complete renovation. I glanced at the contract amount. It was 3 times the normal quote. Why are you looking for me? Because you're the best. I closed the contract and returned it to him. Sorry. My schedule is full. He smiled wryly as he took back the documents. You're still the same. Haven't changed a bit. You're wrong, I said, opening the car door. I've changed a lot. 5 years have changed me a lot. From being someone who was completely consumed by Asher and cold-hearted, to becoming someone who can stand on their own in any field. Although the Piper process was so painful that I once gave up on myself, I still made it through. Now, I cherish myself and those around me even more. In the blink of an eye, Jack Swan's birthday is approaching, and I've made a special effort to clear a day to accompany him in choosing a gift. At the jewelry counter in the mall, I unexpectedly ran into Lila Sue returning an item. Seeing us, she flusteredly hid the watch behind her back. What a coincidence. Jack Swan nodded politely and led me to the other side, but she followed. Piper Ann, can I have a word with you? I nodded at Jack Swan to go ahead and followed her to the lounge area. Asherlang, he wants to divorce me. Her eyes were red-rimmed. Just because he knows I came to find you. I looked at her in silence. I know you hate me. But the child is innocent. He's only 4 years old. I can't grow up without a father. She grabbed my hand. Please. I'm begging you. Can you talk to him? He only listens to you now. I pulled my hand back. This is your family matter. It has nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with you. She suddenly became agitated. Would he have become like this if you hadn't appeared? He thinks about you every day now. He even calls your name in his dreams. Jax rushed over to protect me. Need any help? Lila Sue looked at our closeness and suddenly laughed. Piper Ann, you already have a husband. And you're still seducing Asherlang. If you hadn't given him hope, would he be so heartless? I looked at her calmly. Her hysteria. I gave you a chance. She froze. When I found out about you two back then, I gave you a choice. You chose to betray our friendship. Her face turned deathly pale. And I continued. The result now, this is something you brought upon yourself. 9 years have passed. But I still remember the shock of that moment. That day was Asher's cold birthday, and I deliberately left work early to buy the black truffle cake he loved. When I got home, a romantic tune played softly inside. The living room curtains were drawn. Clothes were scattered across the sofa, and a woman's high heels by the door made me unable to take another step. The bedroom door was slightly ajar, and loud voices came from inside. I touched my 9-month pregnant belly, bit my lip, and walked into the room. This morning, the gray bed sheets I had carefully chosen were the backdrop for two people I knew better than anyone else. Now entangled in the most degrading way possible. They were so engrossed that they didn't even notice me standing at the door. The cake in my hand fell with a thud, shattering into pieces, just like my world. A scream escaped from Lila's mouth, and the two of them abruptly broke apart. Asher practically leaped up, the flush on his face still present, quickly replaced by terror. He instinctively pulled the blanket up, covering the woman in his arms, the best friend who had just shared lip color shades with me yesterday. Lila Sue hid Ly behind Asher's cold figure, her slender shoulders trembling violently, but her eyes fixed on me with blatant triumph. She was showing off. Piper Ann, how come you're back? Asher's voice was cold and hoarse, his movements still laced with panic. He stopped in his tracks when he noticed their clothes had been tossed in the living room. I stood there stupidly, my mouth open but unable to. Blood seemed to rush backward, making my mind go completely blank. For a moment, I didn't even know where I was or why I was here. Who were they? I wanted to tell myself to wake up. This had to be a nightmare. I even bit my own arm hard, the pain letting me know this wasn't a dream. When did you two get together? Asher pressed his lips tightly together, turning his gaze away. Lila suddenly collapsed on the bed, sobbing and covered in tears, begging me to forgive her. I'm sorry. It's all my fault. Nothing to do with Asher. She reached out to grab the hem of my clothes, but I suddenly stepped back, avoiding her. I'm asking you, when exactly did you two get together? I raised my voice, and tears fell as soon as I spoke. You had just become pregnant, and then I originally just wanted to help Asher keep a cool head. When I first got pregnant, I had severe morning sickness, often unable to eat anything, and felt drowsy all day. Lila was very worried about my lack of nutrition, so she often came to my house to take care of me. It turned out that the two of them had already gotten together back then, yet they kept it from me for so long. Why? I asked her with difficulty. She had been by my side during my happiest days, my best friend. Why? I pressed on. Piper Ann, I know we've wronged you, and I deserve to die 1,000 deaths. But Asher and I truly love each other. We can't help it. Truly in love. It sounds like the most absurd joke in the world. I couldn't help but laugh, but tears streamed down, blurring my vision. So, Asher Lang, I'm pregnant with your child, and you and my best friend are truly in love in bed. Asher Lang's face was pale, his tone stiff. Piper Ann, it's already happened. I was going to talk to you after you gave birth. What are you talking about? Divorce. Asher remained silent, while Lila spoke hesitantly. Piper, we're sisters. Can you just let us be? Sisters. Let us be. I looked at Lila Sue kneeling in front of me, but actually closing in on me step by step. Look again at Asher Lang, silent and with a cold gaze beside him. I just feel so tired. I want to leave here. I don't want to see them anymore. That night, Nien Nien was born, and before I had even finished my confinement, I had a cold divorce from Asher. 10 Watching Nien Nien playing in the children's park, I've wondered if it would be too cruel to let her be born without a father. But if I continue to endure and allow her to learn to avoid confronting others' mistakes, isn't that another form of cruelty? She must have the courage to say no to others, and she must learn to protect herself. At this moment, a boy pushed Nien Nien over and snatched the toy from her hand. I stood up nervously, But before I could walk over, I saw her kick the boy. The boy didn't react and fell to the ground crying loudly, his toys rolling to the side. Nian Nian calmly picked up the toys and said loudly to the approaching staff, "He started it by snatching my toys." The boy's cries attracted passers-by, and his parents emerged from the crowd. It was Asher Lang and Lila Su. Lila Su, without distinguishing right from wrong, pointed at Nian Nian and yelled, "How does your mother discipline you? Kicking people for just taking your toy? You have so many toys you don't play with. Why do you have to fight with your younger brother over this one?" Nian Nian was not afraid at all. "Auntie, you also said that this toy is mine. I don't want to give it to him, so I want. Besides, how did you educate your younger brother? He has so many toys he doesn't play with, but he insists on snatching mine, and when he can't snatch it, he pushes people." Lila Su froze, her face turning red and pale in quick succession, while Asher beside her hurriedly tried to defuse the situation. Yang, you were wrong about this. That belongs to your sister. If you want to play, you should ask her first. How could you push someone else?" Lila Su didn't expect her husband to take someone else's side. She grew furious, her face flushing red as she stared coldly at Asher. "Honey, why are you siding with outsiders? Yang is your biological son. How can you stand up for some stray child?" "Enough." Asher frowned coldly, silencing her. "The children are all spoiled by you. If this continues, I really don't know what they'll become when they grow up. Go apologize to Piper right away." Lila's eyes were red, and she bit her lip tightly, but her last bit of pride was still supporting her, preventing her from bowing her head. "Why should I apologize?" "That's right, Uncle. He's the one who should apologize." Nian Nian pointed her finger at Yang. The boy looked at Asher coldly and then at Lila Su. Seeing that no one was protecting him, he simply lay on the ground and started acting out. I walked over and gently patted Nian Nian. "Are you okay?" She shook her head, smiling sweetly. "Mom, I'm fine. Let's go home. I miss Dad." I nodded and led her away. Before we had walked a few steps, Asher called out sharply behind me. I didn't stop and kept walking forward with Nian Nian. "Piperin, you've taught Nian Nian so well. I was always worried she might not have." "No need." I cut him off. "If you have business matters, contact my assistant. Otherwise, please don't follow us anymore." "Piperin, I'm getting a divorce." "Piper Ann, can you please not hate me?" "I don't hate you. To me now, you're just a stranger." I picked up my daughter and looked at him one last time. "Let's let each other go." "Asher Lang, we should both move forward." 11. It was raining lightly outside, and Jack's one came in with an umbrella to pick up Nian Nian and me. He watched from a distance as Asher, looking cold, handed me the umbrella and then picked up Nian Nian again. After Piper, we embraced and walked out. In the car, Jack still couldn't hold back and asked me, "He still hasn't given up?" I smiled faintly. "Whatever he does, it has nothing to do with me anymore." "Do you still hate him?" "Actually," I said softly, "at first, right after the divorce, I did hate him. I hated him for betraying our love, for destroying all my illusions about marriage." Jax listened silently, but later I understood. He was the one who made me grow. If it weren't for that pain, I wouldn't know how to cherish the happiness I have now. The car stopped downstairs in the residential area, but he didn't unlock it immediately. "Ah, Piper, there's something I've always wanted to tell you. Thank you for choosing to believe in me, for choosing to give love another chance." I leaned on his shoulder. "Because you're worth it." Nian Nian suddenly asked Piper in the back seat. "Mommy, did that uncle have something important to talk to you just now?" Jack's one got out of the car and picked up Nian Nian. "Because the uncle lost something very important. Some people come into our lives just to teach us. Only by letting go can we meet a better tomorrow." And my tomorrow had already begun 5 years ago, on that rainy night when Jack's one appeared before me, holding an umbrella. End of the whole text.